Milk Minute!
Good day everyone, I'm Neomrith M. Handok, former club president of Teatro Padarafung of Philippine Normal University. Musical plays are relevant to life since the 20th century. As a theater actress and a teacher, musical plays are good means of presenting stories that would be understood and appreciated by students. Through live performances using songs, dances, dialogues, and acting, stories can be understood easily and would leave a lasting impact to its audience. A lot of unforgettable experiences in stage plays gave me an in-depth appreciation to literature, not just as a written piece of art, but also a living piece of art being put into flesh. By presenting the correct emotions, appropriate music and gestures, stage actors in music plays are able to share the experience and the story to the audiences in a dramatic way of communication.
You're listening to SDO Isabela Radio-Based Instruction.
Come on, Mape!
Yay!
Mape paawit, Mape pagguhit, Mape sayaw at Mape lusog ka. When learning continues in Mape Edukalidad. Hey!
When learning continues in MAPE Edukalidad.
Good day again and again, my musically inclined lads and ladies. Are you excited for today's learning adventure?
Yes!
Wow, I cannot wait either. I am teacher Aideen Joy Mora, your radio teacher for today. Welcome to our first episode in MAPE Music 10 for the fourth quarter with the title 20th and 21st Century Multimedia Forms in the Philippines. The previous quarter provided us bird's eye view of the amazing and remarkable features of the contemporary music of the Philippines. We also realized that with Spain and America having colonized our country from the early 1500s to the late 1800s, it was inevitable that Western compositional techniques found their way into the works of Filipino composers.
Amazing!
Yet, even 20th century Filipino composers have managed to retain some traditional elements in their assimilation of Western techniques. In fact, they have become the strongest foundations of what we know as Philippine music. And in this quarter, we are going to come across with the number 20th and 21st century multimedia forms performed by our very own Filipino talents and artists. And today, my dear grade 10 learners, to deepen your knowledge about 20th and 21st century multimedia forms, we will discuss different forms of Philippine opera, ballet, and musical plays in the 20th and 21st century.
Legendary!
In this episode, you will be able to understand how these multimedia forms reflect life in the 20th century. You will be able to describe how an idea or a story in a musical play is presented in live performance or video. Before we start our fun-filled discussion, let's have a game first. Let's call this game Name the Character. In this game, I will dramatize famous lines of characters on air from the novel Noli Me Tangere. And your task is to identify the character who said such line. Just comment your answer here at Radyo Eskwela or write them on your answer sheet. Here's the list of characters which will be your choices from Noli Me Tangere. Please take note of them. We have Piloso Potasio, Elias, Ibarra, and Gurong Pari. I repeat, choices are Piloso Potasio, Elias, Ibarra, and Gurong Pari. I guess everyone's now ready. Let's start.
Alright.
For our first item, I want you to listen carefully.
Mahal ko ang aking bayan pagkat utang ko rito at magiging utang pa ang aking kaligayahan.
Please name the character. Time's up. The character is Ibarra. Next line.
Dapat bigyang dangal ang isang mabuting tao habang buhay pa kaysa kung patay na.
Please name the character. Time's up. The answer is Piloso Potasio. Next.
Lahat po tayo ay may kalaban. Mula sa pinakamaliit na kulisap hanggang sa taong may muwang. Mula sa pinakahamak hanggang sa pinakamariwasa at pinakamakapangyarihan. Ang pakikipaglaban ay siyang batas ng buhay.
Name the character. Time's up. The character is Elias. Did you get all of them? Yes! Did you enjoy our first activity? Yeah! Thank you for your participation. Expect that there will be exciting activities ahead in discussing our today's lesson.
Alright.
The emergence of the Filipino opera started to take shape during the middle part of the 19th century. Foreign performers, including instrumental virtuosi, as well as opera singers and Spanish zarzuela performers, came to the country to perform for enthusiastic audience. The opera is an art and music form in which singers and musicians perform a dramatic work combining text called libretto and a musical score, usually in an elaborate theatrical setting. It incorporates many of the elements of spoken theater such as acting, scenery, costumes, and sometimes includes dance. The performance is typically given in an opera house, cultural center, theater, or auditorium. It is accompanied by an orchestra or smaller musical ensemble. Opera is part of the Western classical music form and tradition. It started in Italy at the end of the 16th century and soon spread through the rest of Europe. Operas based on Rizal's two novels, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, were composed of the national artist Felipe Padilla de Leon. These were presented at the CCP Main Theater in 1970 and 1975 respectively. The first Filipino opera is said to be Sandugong Panaginip by Pedro Paterno, a poet, novelist, musician, and a government official. This was first presented at the Sarila Theater on August 2, 1902. The novel of national hero Dr. Jose Rizal, Noli Me Tangere, has been a source of many artistic productions and endeavors. From a silent film adaptation in 1915, it was the subject of a movie in 1961 by Gerardo de Leon. The novel also became the subject of musical plays and revivals. El Filibusterismo, on the other hand, was another novel by Dr. Jose Rizal, a sequel to the earlier Noli Me Tangere. It tells of the continuing struggle of the Filipino people to achieve freedom and emancipation from colonial rule. Through the major characters involved, it reflects the prevailing state of Philippine government and society that has become corrupt and immoral, for which a revolution was being seen as the only solution for change. This time, class, I want you to listen to the opera play Awit ng Gabi ni Sisa from Noli Me Tangere by Felipe de Leon. This video was retrieved from the YouTube channel of Antony Mendezona. Music, maestro! Next, we have the Ballet of the Philippines. The medium of dance and ballet to interpret novels, folktales, and stories provides visual excitement as the characters come alive, not in a spoken dialogue but in body movements. Much of the communication is relayed in pantomime. It is a performance in which a story is told without words, but by using body movements and facial expressions. Take note, class, that the lack of spoken words or song lyrics is more than made up by the creative steps and arm gestures of the dancers. Their facial expressions and body movements add more meaning to the story being revealed. The performance is further enhanced by colorful costumes, elaborate sets, visually suggestive music, and synchronized choreography. Filipino ballets vividly present folktales based on local fables, for example, Lola Basyang, as well as epics from neighboring regions such as India's Ramayana. Highly communicative movements and steps dramatize the actions in the respective stories. The colorful sets and costumes add to the glitter and attraction of the productions. Although not as extensively explored as the other performing genres for local adaptation, Filipino ballet productions have evoked wide enthusiasm from people of all ages. They have been added to the repertoire of Philippine dance companies to supplement the Western classical ballets such as Nutcracker Suite, Swan Lake, Giselle, and Sleeping Beauty. Now, let's listen to the ballet performance Tatlo Pang Kwento ni Lola Basyang Finale. This will give us the hint of how lively and enthusiastic the music of ballets are. You can watch the video for yourself from the YouTube channel of Lisa Elizalde. Music, maestro! Another medium of multimedia forms, my dear students, is the musical play. Musical play is a popular and generally lighter form of musical drama than the opera. Remember, class, that the theme in musical play is usually more contemporary and the musical melodies more manageable by the average singer. The acting is less intense and dramatic. The choreography and dance sequences provide visual breaks from the ongoing plots. Musical plays have been associated with the Broadway plays of New York City and West End productions in London. Les Miserables, Phantom of the Opera, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and Miss Saigon. In the Philippines, the musical play is more recent development than Broadway and West End, relying mostly on adaptations from novels, literary works, or biographical sketches of famous artists. The musical play Andres Bonifacio, Ang Dakilang Anak Pawis is a 5-act work commissioned by Alfonso Puyat in 1979, depicting the life of the revolutionary hero Andres Bonifacio. It was co-produced by the Cultural Center of the Philippines or CCP and the Andres Bonifacio Music Foundation Incorporated and was staged again at the CCP Main Theater on August 20 and 21, 1994. The musical play El Filibusterismo is a 2-act play that was staged at the CCP Main Theater from August 8 to 10, 1997 as a production of Tanghalang Pilipino. Musical plays are complemented by a large chorus. In 2019, Ang Huling El Bimbo, whose official title, Ang Huling Pagsusuri ni Francis Paul Ezekiel Wilaya, invaded the social media, garnering a total of 7 million views in 48 hours from May 8 until May 9 last 2019. Ang Huling El Bimbo, the musical, is a jukebox musical featuring the hits of the Filipino band Eraserheads. It was written by Ding Dong Novenario and directed and choreographed by Dexter Santos, with the musical direction of Mike Salomon. To cut short, the story of Huling El Bimbo centers on 4 college students whose friendship was tested after a personal tragedy. Did you learn something today, class? Yes! That's great. Let's listen to a musical play that once conquered the stage entitled Andres Bonifacio, Ang Dakilang Anak Pawis. This was taken from the YouTube channel of Pat Libao. Music, maestro! To sum up the lesson we just had on today's episode, what again are the 20th and 21st century multimedia forms we learned? Alright, we have opera, ballet theater, and musical plays of the Philippines. Always remember, class, that these forms of multimedia serve as our mirror in reflecting our traditions and histories as Filipinos. Our multimedia forms of arts and music are our voices that speak our past, are present in our future as Filipinos, since our nation has diverse traditions and unique historical connection. This time, let us call our next activity as multimedia forms of the century. In this activity, you are going to identify what multimedia forms are being described. Just choose the letter of the correct answer. You may comment down your answer here at Radyo Eskwela or write it on your answer sheet. Are you ready?
Yes!
Let's begin. For number 1, it is an art and music form in which singers and musicians perform a dramatic work combining text and a musical score, usually in an elaborate theatrical setting. Is it letter A, ballet, B, opera, or C, musical play? Time's up. The answer is letter B, opera.
Legendary!
How about for number 2? It is a performance in which a story is told without words. Instead, performers use body movements and facial expressions. Choices are A, ballet, B, opera, or C, musical play. Please write your answer. Time's up. The answer is letter A, ballet.
Unstoppable!
And for number 3, it is an opera performed that tells the continuing struggle of the Filipino people to achieve freedom and emancipation from colonial rule. Through the major characters involved, it reflects the prevailing state of Philippine government and society that has become corrupt and immoral. Is it letter A, No Limitangere, letter B, El Filibusterismo, or letter C, Miss Saigon? Please comment your answer. Time's up. The answer is letter B, El Filibusterismo.
Savage!
How about for number 4? It is a ballet adaptation of Severino Reyes' folktales. It was meant to instill and rekindle the interest of the Filipino youth in the beauty, richness, and heritage of Philippine literature. The typical storytelling scene shows the grandmother on a rocking chair with her grandchildren listening to her fascinating tales. Is it letter A, Lola Remedios, letter B, Lola Curacha, or letter C, Lola Basha? What's the answer? Time's up. The answer is Lola Bashang. That's letter C.
Unstoppable!
And for number 5, she is best known for her portrayal of Kim in the musical Miss Saigon, a role for which she won the prestigious Tony Award for the theater in the USA and the Laurence Olivier Award in London. She also garnered the Drama Desk and Outer Critics Circle Awards for the same role in the USA. She is the first Filipina to have won various international awards for a single role. Who is this female artist? Is it letter A, Lea Salonga, letter B, Sharon Cuneta, or letter C, Sara Geronimo? Please write your answer. Time's up. The answer is letter A, Lea Salonga.
Victory!
Did you all get the right answers? Yeah! Very good. Thank you, my dear learners. I appreciate you for keeping up with me until the end of our session. Yeah! That's it, class. This is the composition of our on-air discussion on multimedia forms in Philippine arts and music, namely opera, ballet, and musical play. I am sure that there will be more exciting on-air sessions coming and the following topics to be covered. And on behalf of the scriptwriter, Ma'am Bernadette Segundo, together with the SDO Isabela RBI production team, this has been your radio teacher on air, Teacher Eileen, saying, life is a stage. Be the character you want to play. Yeah! Till next time. Bye!
Patuloy ang edukasyon para sa ating henerasyon.
Sa daan ng pagkatuto ay walang may iwan.
Kaya halina sa Radyo Eskwela.
Tayo na!
Sa Radyo Eskwela.